Hello everyone and welcome to the Hearthstone World Championship opening week. I am Raven. And joining me on the introductions here is going to be Brian Kibler, the one and only, and the 2014 World Champion himself, Firebat. How are you guys doing? Are you excited for this week?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've seen this whole Hearthstone Championship tour throughout the year. So many great players at all of these championships, and the culmination is here. You know, we're going to see who will be crowned World Champion this week.
Yeah, and you've been in a similar position before, Firebat. How are you looking forward to being on the caster side of it this time?
It's a little different, but really excited all the same. It's really cool just to see someone, you know, work all year and then the culmination of all of their efforts and they're finally crowned the champion. Couldn't be more excited to see it happen.
Yeah, it really is going to be a great week, and we'll just quickly go over the format of how these 16 players are going to battle it out into the groups. So there's going to be 4 groups of 4 players each, and it is going to be a double elimination group, and the top 2 will go to BlizzCon and battle for that amazing prize pool, and most importantly, the World Championship title itself. You can see Group A there, going to be the first group of the day, or at least the first match is going to kick off with Cydonia and Handsomeguy. And overall, like, you know, every single group is super stacked, and it's just really difficult to call out even any sort of standout names. But, you know, who are you liking overall in these groups, Kibble?
I think from Group A, I think Tice is probably at least the fan favorite. He's a player who's really well known. Probably most players champion from the Choose Your Champion competition there. So Handsomeguy as well. You know, a player who won multiple championships throughout the year has to be a favorite going in as well.
Is there anyone who particularly stands out for you, Firebat?
Well, being an American, being from the United States, I have to represent my boy Amnesiac, the young savage of USA, one of the youngest representatives here, but I'm hoping he crushes it for us.
Yeah, it's going to be great overall, but we can check out the schedule as well for today. We will be doing one match, from each group every single day this week. We're going to start off with Cydonia versus Handsomeguy from Group A. We're going to move on to Group B, which is BB Gungan versus Naaman. Group C, Breath versus Doc Tippy. And Group D, Dione versus Omega Zero. Which match are you looking forward to the most, Firebat, today?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to Dione versus Omega Zero. Dione is my teammate from Cloud9, so I got a little stake in that. And
a little bit biased.
A little bit, but Omega Zero has been, I've heard lots of stories about him. He's kind of been hyped up a lot to me by Frodan. People have been just saying crazy great things about his ladder performance. He's the hope of China. So I'm really excited to see if he can deliver on those expectations.
Yeah, and moving on, we will get to the first series of the day to give you guys a little bit of a preview. It's going to be Cydonia versus Handsomeguy, and this is going to be a pretty big set for Cydonia, I feel, as, you know, he's probably the underdog, to be honest, in this tournament overall, or at least one of them, having one of the lesser-known names, and he is got quite the opponent for the first round.
It's certainly no slouch to be an underdog to Handsomeguy, who is the most accomplished player throughout this year, at least, on the Hearthstone Championship Tour. You know, won 2 of the 3 Asia-Pacific championships and made the finals of the other ones, so pretty incredible.
Yeah, we can see Cydonia there, very serious. He is ready for business. Just stares into the camera there. But we can check out his road and how he got here, because, you know, we did mention he was an underdog, but you can see there in his qualifying performance, some of the players he's beat are actually some very well-known, very accomplished players themselves. Like, what else can you tell me about Cydonia, Firebat?
Not too much. Other than this tournament appearance, he's been mainly focusing on work for the most part and doing other things. So he's kind of like the working class hero of the BlizzCon tournament so far, and we'll see if he's able to, you know, bring that kind of passion into the tournament scene.
Yeah, Cydonia came out on top of the America's Spring Championship, which was an event that had a lot of not terribly well-known names. His opponent in the finals, Rosti, has gone on to make a name for himself as well. However, you know, this is sort of the coming out party of the Dragon Warrior deck.
Yep.
Both these players were playing Dragon Warrior before it was nearly as popular as it was on ladder, and it was Cydonia who was able to take that win, as you see there on the screen, to earn his ticket here.
Yeah, and it was a very close series as well, taking Rusty all the way to the final match. So, yeah, and his opponent is going to be Handsomeguy, who I feel like Cydonia, if he really wants to move forward, this is the match he needs to win. As Handsomeguy, you can see him there. He's had, frankly, an incredible performance this year.
Yeah, Handsomeguy, you know, he won the Spring Championship after making it to the finals of Winter, losing to Dione, and then wasn't done there. He went on and even won the Summer Championship as well. So, you know, only one other player, I believe, has made the finals of 2 championships. That's Dr. Hippie, who also won, but Handsomeguy won up that and made the finals of 3, winning 2 of them.
Yeah, and it's just his sheer confidence as well. I spoke to him at the Summer Championships, and he was just like, yeah, you know, I'm already qualified, but I'm going to come to this one and just win anyway. I'm better than all the other players regardless. I asked him about lineups that he wasn't really favored in, and he was just like, it's fine, I'm just better than him, so I'll win. And it's kind of hard to argue about with someone who's this confident and actually post the results themselves.
Yeah, if you get the results, then you've earned the right to be that confident.
Yeah, really can't argue with that, and he is just so accomplished. And I think, you know, you were talking about Tice earlier as the big pick, but I think Handsomeguy, just based on results and consistency as well, is looking really strong in this group overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue against Handsomeguy. You know, he does have just the best performance throughout the year. And a lot of players, once they did qualify, they sort of rest on their laurels a bit, maybe relax a bit for the rest of the year, didn't go on to really necessarily try to qualify for the other events. But, you know, Handsomeguy not only played in each of these, but won multiple championships. Really shows just an incredible level of dedication to the game.
Yeah, and we can check out the bracket for Group A that Cydonia and Handsomeguy are going to be in, and the winner will move on to face the winner of Jason Zhao versus Tice. So, you know, what does winning mean in this kind of double elimination bracket, Fiber?
It means you have to play one less game overall to make it all the way through, so you get more time to research your opponents, more time to relax. I've been in this same position before in 2014, and I actually lost my first game, and that was just a horrible feeling. Like, I actually had, like, text messages from, like, family and stuff, and they're like, oh, sorry you lost, because they thought I was out, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that is something to make sure of. The loser of the first game will actually just go down to the lower bracket. They are not knocked out, but they have a harder road.
It's definitely a lot harder of a road, so it feels so much better if you're just able to get that win the first game.
Yeah, but moving on into the second series of the day from Group B is going to be BB Gungun versus Neyman. So again, it's going to be America versus Europe at this moment. And BB Gungun, you know, one of the sort of, he works in the shadows to a large extent. He's always been around. He's one of the players that if you ask a lot of the American players, like, you know, who do you practice with, you know, who have you prepared for tournaments with, his name comes up a surprising amount. Yeah,
BB Gungun has kind of been the man behind the man all year. Yeah. You heard lots of players attributing a great deal of their success to the fact that he was one of their practice partners. And we saw, you know, similar things said about, say, Purple, who was one of your major practice partners in 2014, went on to win the Americas Championship in 2015. So definitely a strong recommendation from top players.
And that's really important in Hearthstone. If your peers think you're good in Hearthstone, you're usually pretty good.
Usually decent, yeah. And you can see his run there. He did come through the last call qualifier, so he was one of the top 8 points earners all year. So even though he's not particularly had any huge tournament performances in the year, he's been so consistent in gaining those points and did manage to clinch out in a pretty stacked like America's last call.
Yeah, that's, you know, a huge tournament win against a lot of really tough competition. You know, the last call events, the top point winners from each of the regions throughout the year, in many cases represent some of the strongest players from those regions. And BB Gungun had to fight through a pretty strong lineup there at the last call event to earn his ticket here.
Yeah, you can see him there taking down Nostum, one of the finalists at the Winter Championship in North America. So, yeah, definitely proving himself a very strong player.
Yeah, and this, again, could just be a further of BB Gungun's breakout performance. You know, getting to the top 16 is an incredible performance so far, but it means that he is going to have the chance to really put his name out there and maybe stop being the man behind the man, so to speak. But he is going to be going up against Neyman as his opponent. It just always looks like just a stone cold killer, doesn't he? He's just always like, he practiced. It's like he can hear me, and I'm pretty sure he can, which is great. So yeah, always looks super serious. But again, we can see his road. He does not mess about either. He qualified in the Winter Championship, so a long, long time ago it feels like now.
As far away from possible as he could be from BB Gungun's qualifying time. Like, Neyman was literally one of the first people qualified to BlizzCon, and BB Gungun was one of the last.
Yeah, definitely no slouch, though. He has not been resting on his laurels all year. He has been working away with some great tournament performances and with his team that was pretty much created from the Winter Championships.
Yeah, he is a member of Team Virtus Pro, which was formed, in fact, from 3 players from the top 8 of the Winter Championship, including his finals opponent and good friend now, Dr. Hippie, who managed to come back and qualify this tournament as well. And speaking of how long ago this was, there's Dr. Boom in play.
Yeah.
You know, this win for Neyman came prior to the release of the standard format. So for some of these players, it'd be interesting to see how they adapt to how many shifts there have been in the metagame since their championship performances.
Yeah, I would like to say I forgot what Dr. Boom does, but I still have nightmares now and again. So, you know, that card is going to live on for a long time regardless. But yeah, really great performances from Neyman. He's been continuing to play along with his teammates. Bunny Hopper almost qualified. He was in last call for Europe. And actually, how crazy it would have been to have 3 Virtus Pro members.
That would have been absolutely insane. That
Crazy enough to have 2.
Yeah, it's really crazy
having
to
2
have
is
2.
pretty great. But yeah, we can check out the bracket for Group B, which is the group BB Gungan and Neyman are in. And tomorrow we're going to have Chansu versus Hamster. And then the winners will face off as usual, and the losers will face off and have a slightly more difficult road. But moving on to Series 3, it is going to be Neyman's teammate, Dr. Hippie versus Breath. And, you know, Breath, pretty much, you know, quite a well-known player, and maybe not so much in the scenes for America and Europe, but really having an impact on his deck building as well.
Yeah, he comes from the Chinese scene, which is a little bit different over there. They qualify through a different sort of way. He qualified through the Gold Series and also finished twice top 4 in the Gold Series, aside from the one he won.
Yeah, and those tournaments have so many players.
Yeah.
Like, to just battle through. These aren't like 128 mans or anything like that. These are just so many players to actually battle through. So again, just really great consistency from this player. And yeah, it's just doing well so far. We can see, there we go. That shows how many players you've got to battle through. And I'm pretty sure that's not even the full list, Kibble.
Yeah, one of the things that a lot of players from the China region say that really emphasizes how difficult it is to succeed in that scene is just how many players there are. You know, when you need to make top ladder ranks when there are 40,000 legend players, you know, when you need to win these huge tournaments, that's a gigantic accomplishment for these players, especially when they're able to do it multiple times like Breath.
Yeah, and speaking of multiple times, his opponent is going to be Dr. Hippie, who is a multiple-time appearance in championships this year. And as we mentioned earlier, talking about Neyman, he is a teammate. He has brought out the matching hair to go with his jersey to fully represent Virtus Pro. And again, just Firebat, just a super consistent player, and able to mix it up sometimes as well. He did kind of get locked into certain deck choices, as pretty much his style. But we saw recently he actually flipped from his known freeze mage to go into tempo. So really not afraid to mix it up.
Yeah, it shows that he's definitely a bold player, able to adjust to the metagame accordingly, and it's really been working for him as he's had great success all year in the Hearthstone tournaments, qualifying for this, and also just in other events, like he got second in Star Ladder.
Yeah, and really interesting that there's, as you can see, he actually lost to Neyman in winter. The ongoing rivalry, even though they're teammates and friends, they really want to play each other and see who can get, maybe Dr. Hippie can get the revenge there. So really great player overall. And also, he's actually my pick to go through and to win it. Okay. By the way, he's the one I locked in on the Hearthstone website for my free packs. Yeah, so if he doesn't, he can buy me some packs instead to make up for it. But we do see
that's how it works.
Look, I want those packs, okay? Yeah, we see he did beat George C in the finals, and again, just such a strong performance. And another sort of unknown factor earlier on in the year, but he's just continuing to grow with some more tournament performances.
Yeah, he was sort of referred to by fellow competitors at the Winter Championship as the mysterious challenger, back when Secret Paladin was the most popular deck around. And he has really come out of his shell since then and, become very well regarded worldwide as a top competitor.
Definitely, and we can see the bracket he's involved in Group C. So we see Breath versus Dr. Hippie, obviously the match we've just been discussing, and the winner's going to face off against the winner of Amnesia and Yulsik. So it's going to be America versus the APAC champion there for summer. It's going to be a great series. It's going to come up tomorrow, but the final series of the day is going to be Dione versus Omega Zero. So one of the interesting series of the day is two very different players here. Omega Zero is known for his sort of incredible deck building, consistent ladder finishes. I believe he's Frodan's pick. There we go to take the whole thing. And Dione, pretty much known as a streamer. Whether he likes that or not, we'll find out. But maybe a few players don't think he's quite put enough practice in or is serious enough, but he begs to differ. Yeah,
he was saying prior to the Winter Championship that he wanted to prove that he wasn't just an entertainer. He wasn't just a streamer who played wacky decks and had crazy moments happening, that he had what it takes to compete with the best of them. And he showed that at the Winter Championship. He defeated Handsomeguy in the finals. The only player, by the way, to defeat Handsomeguy in the finals of anything, as far as I could tell this year.
Yeah.
So, pretty good qualification for him already.
Yeah, and do you think you stream yourself, Firebat, do you think like a heavy streaming schedule will have affected him, or do you think he would have really put in the work for this?
Well, it's really hard to practice and stream at the same time, because a lot of times when you're on stream, you're more focused on being entertaining, making it a good experience for the viewer, and whereas practice, you're just focusing on mainly math, and it's really boring. So you kind of have to do the two separate, and at least in my experience, I stream regularly and then practice off stream. So it's a lot of effort and a lot of work to try and maintain both because of the amount of hours you have to put in. So hopefully he's putting in the work, and we're going to see if that's true today.
Yeah, we'll see if it'll pay off, and he does have to get through Omega Zero today, who is, again, just well known as a repetitive high legend finishes in a very competitive ladder as well. So, what else do we know about Omega Zero, Kibler?
Omega Zero, as you mentioned, one of the top ladder finishers throughout the year in the China region. You see first place in March, first place in July. Few people manage multiple first place ladder finishes. I think we're actually even missing one of his first place finishes. Didn't have enough room for them. And this is not only first place legend finish. This is a first place legend finish in the biggest region in the world.
Yeah.
There's something like 10 times as many legend players in China as there are in the Americas region, which is further amplified how impressive that result is.
Yeah, further ladder consistency, and as well seeing the qualifying performances. He's actually played Hamster and some of the other players who are in this tournament, so he's got to be feeling confident after, if he does run into them later, having already beat some of them. So that is going to be the roundup for the bracket. We can check out Group D, and who's going to end up playing tomorrow. It's going to be, obviously, Dione and Omega Zero today, and then Hot Meowth and Pavel coming up tomorrow. So some more great matches coming up all the way throughout the week. But they are all the groups and all the matches we're going to have today. And now we have a bit of a special treat for you, as we do have Frodan with Yongwu for an interview regarding what's happening next year in Hearthstone.
Thank you so much, Raven. I am a special treat. And, of course, I have the biggest treats of all. We have Yongwu in the house, senior producer of Hearthstone. Thank you so much for joining us, Young. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. It's so great to be here. It's truly an honor to be here with some of the most talented Hearthstone players in the world.
And casters.
And, of course, casters.
Thank you very much. Big shout-out to Raven, of course, doing a great introduction to the pre-show. Young here is here to discuss some of the 2017 plans that you guys just announced in your blog on playhearthstone.com about the changes to HCT next year. So why don't you go ahead and recap, because I know it's very fresh in people's minds, some of the important details that you guys are announcing for the following year.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So this year, we rolled out 2016 Hearthstone Championship Tour. And we did that because we wanted to bring together the most dedicated Hearthstone players so they can compete with each other at the highest level and showcase their skill throughout the year. And it's been really successful. Here we are at the opening week for the leading to the World Championship for 2016. And we learned a lot from this experience. So moving forward to 2017 Hearthstone Championship Tour, we'll be making some improvements. So first, we'll be replacing the regional season preliminaries with the regional season playoffs. And so how the playoffs are going to work is we're going to be taking the top 64 point earners in each region. And those players are going to be battling it out with each other in Swiss format.
Favorite cheese.
Yeah, yeah. And that's going to decide the 4 players that's going to be representing that region that season. And next, instead of having 4 separate regional championships, we're going to be taking the top 4 players from each region, and we're going to be combining them into a single 16-player global season championship. And this is really exciting to me because I love it when the top players from all over the world compete against each other across region. Yeah. And next year, you're going to be seeing it throughout the year. And so 4 players, the top 4 players from these global season championship will be guaranteed a seat at the 2017 World Championship at the end of the series.
Awesome. How did the points work out with that, too? Because I know a lot of people are always curious at how they qualify for these playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. We took a close look at point distribution and how they distribute across rank mode, tournaments, and cups. we made adjustments so that the points are more evenly distributed and that it includes more people. So, and for the cup system, we're going to be moving from a weekly cadence to a monthly cadence. So overall, I'm really looking forward to a more inclusive, more fair, and more exciting system for 2017.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a lot's on the horizon already. One of the details that stuck out to me when I read the post was the fact that it seemed like the calendar was altering a little bit so it can synchronize with the release of standard and rotations. Can you talk about this a little bit more in detail in terms of what you guys are planning?
Yeah, we want the tournament meta to feel really fresh. So each of these global season championships will be within its own content cycle with its own pool of cards. So I think that's going to be really exciting. Each championship is going to feel really unique leading into the World Championship. Very excited about that. The other thing we're doing is we're going to be syncing up the Hearthstone Championship Tour's year with the standard year within Hearthstone. So what this means is that for 2017 World Championship, it's actually going to happen early 2018 after the last expansion of the year is released.
Okay, wow, really interesting stuff
Yeah.
indeed. You know, you didn't also mention the fact that you try to, you know, one of the things that we kind of tease HCT a little bit about is the name of it, the fact that we're on tour, right? Hearthstone Championship Tour, yet we're kind of parked in here in the LA studio. You know, I wanted to ask, do we plan on taking this tour abroad so that people can meet the favorite players and the fans can really attend and enjoy the tavern?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the feedback we've been getting. And yes, for 2017, Hearthstone Championship Tour will actually be on tour. So I look forward to the championships happening around the world. Yeah, I think it'll be awesome for fans to attend them in person.
Speaking of around the world, a couple of new programs that's also exciting in addition to the Hearthstone Championship Tour, the Hearthstone Global Games and the Hearthstone Invitational. Nice pun. Why don't you go ahead and explain what the purpose is and what you guys really want to achieve with these new programs?
Yeah, so Hearthstone Championship Tour really focuses on intense 1v1 high-level competition. And that's a really exciting and awesome way to enjoy competitive Hearthstone. But we don't think that's the only way to enjoy competitive Hearthstone. There's so many different formats and ways we can enjoy. So with Hearthstone Global Games, we'll be introducing a 4v4 team-based format. And each of these teams will represent a single country. So the top point earner in a given country will make one of the players, and the other 3 players will actually be voted in by the community. So, and these teams will battle against each other on a weekly basis in the league. I'm really excited about this. I think I really enjoy watching the more cooperative, collaborative decision-making that happens when you put a group of people together. And I think it's going to be really fun for fans to cheer for their favorite country.
Certainly. I think the TESPA Collegiate League has definitely been proof of the fun collaborative experience. So looking forward to those global games. Don't want to forget the invitationals as well. Can you clarify what those are supposed to achieve as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really fun to bring together popular streamers, tournament winners, and other kinds of celebrity together for a more lighthearted viewing experience. And with these, we're going to be experimenting with a lot of different formats and trying out what's really most fun and entertaining to watch. And that's going to be peppered throughout the year, and I think that's going to be really exciting to view as well.
Okay. So I'm looking forward to seeing how fun those can actually turn out too, because we all know Hearthstone really flourishes with those kinds of formats. Thank you so much for stopping by with your presence, Young. I know you're really busy around BlizzCon time, so it's really extra pleasant for me to have you here. Before we go, I want to ask you, I know some players are not here anymore. They used to be behind us. Is there anybody you're cheering for this weekend for BlizzCon?
Oh man, that's, honestly, I did a ton of research. Everybody on the dev team individually have been doing a ton of research to figure out who they're going to choose as their champion. And for me, being a Korean American, I decided that I'm going to choose a Korean as my champion.
Okay.
And, Handsomeguy did win his regional championship twice. So, Handsomeguy, you are my champion. You're going to owe me a lot of packs, so I'm cheering you on.
Oh, man, I don't know if that should be encouragement or a threat from Youngwoo, but yeah, good luck, handsome guy. And thank you so much for stopping by again, Young. Do you have anything you want to say before we let you go?
Yeah, be sure to check out playhearthstone.com. The blog is up talking about a lot of the things that I just discussed, and look out for more news about all the exciting esports event next year. And to all the players participating in the opening week, good luck to all of you, and I hope to see you guys at BlizzCon for the finale.
Thanks so much, Young. Senior producer, again, of Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft, preparing for BlizzCon 2016. That's it from us at the desk. Let's go back to Raven so we can get ready to start BlizzCon opening weekend.
Thanks a lot, Frodan. A really awesome interview, a lot of great information coming up for next year. There's definitely a lot to discuss, guys, but what is the highlight for you from that?
I think to me, the two things that really stand out are the opportunity to have more instances of cross-regional play, being able to see players from the Europe region, APAC, et cetera, go up against each other multiple times a year. That and going on tour. I want to see where we're going. You know? It goes super cool.
Yeah, and there's the new programs are so cool. We have the Invitational coming out, so we're going to have more, just fun invitationals, which are my favorite things to watch as far as Hearthstone content's concerned. And then also the global games. I can't wait to represent Team USA, hopefully. Try and earn my spot as a top
Look, a little self-plug there.
Yeah.
I can play in that.
I mean, it's so cool, right? Being able to try and be the best nation at Hearthstone is just really fun and exciting.
Yeah, but a lot of exciting things going on next year. But we have a lot of exciting things going on today. Let us know who you think is going to win, make it through groups, or get off to a great start. Tweet us at Play Hearthstone or check us out on Facebook. But for now, get comfortable and get ready because we're going to get this show on the road.
After 1 year of intense competition, the Hearthstone Championship Tour now comes to an epic conclusion. We've watched tense victories, emotion, and triumph as 16 players emerged as the champions of their region. Now it's time for them to compete on the international stage. With $1 million on the line and the entire world watching, it's time to see who forges their legacy as the new world champion. Pull up a chair and catch all the action. The 2016 Hearthstone World Championship starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BlizzCon opening weekend. 16 players from around the globe have gathered here representing their countries, their region, their continents to battle out for $1 million and call themselves the world champion. Today we have 4 matches for you today. Let's go ahead and introduce to you all of the round of 16 players that will be competing today. Starting from my far right, hailing from China, we have Omega Zero up against Korea's Dahyoni. Also to my right, our third match of the day from Ukraine, we have Dr. Hippie going up against another Chinese representative in Breath. To my far left, we have a pair of familiar faces as well. We have Naaman, the winter champion, up against BB Gun Gun from America's Last Call. And last but certainly not least, it'll be actually the first match of the day. We have Handsomeguy from Korea up against Cydonia. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Please exit to the right and prepare for your matches later today. Cydonia, Handsomeguy, please stay. All right, first question goes to Cydonia. You are here once again perceived as an underdog, but you represent Canada and have a lot of pride and support going behind you. What's going through your mind right now before your first match?
I prepared well, I'm ready, I'm focused.
Short and concise. I like it a lot. Handsomeguy, you come in here with a lot of expectations. Does the fact that Youngwoo, the Blizzard senior producer, supporting you make you nervous at all?
자, 용우 프로듀서님이 이제 본인을 우승 후보로 점찍었는데 그 점이 어떻게 더 부담이 되시나요?
부담 좀 되긴 하는데 경기에는 지장 없을 거예요. 네.
It does make me feel more nervous, but it won't affect the tournament.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. All right, guys, enough talking. Shake hands. And with that, let's get BlizzCon opening weekend underway.
Do you know your first opponent?
Yes, 사이도니아. 많이는 모르는데 조금 봤는데 차분하게 잘하는 선수라고 알고 있어요.
I don't think I'll be super nervous because basically I think my opponents are more nervous than me, so it makes me more chill.
Your first opponent. He's probably the most successful player of 2016.
Yeah, it's really interesting because coming here, like from America, we don't know the Asian players very well. We don't play against them on ladders, except maybe Handsomeguy because he was very hyped since he won both tournaments.
차분한 점은 이런 큰 무대에서 실수하지 않게 해주는 좋은 장점인 것 같은데 저는 차분한 편은 아니어도 이제 좀 최근에 큰 대회 경험이 많아서 차분하게 할 수 있을 것 같아요.
I think everyone here is a good player and everyone can win. The level of play is going to be pretty high.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first series. I am Raven, joined by my partner in crime as always, Sol. How are you doing? Didn't get a chance to speak on the desk, but I'm now on a different one.
No, I'm incredibly excited. I mean, 2016 was the year that UK casters took over Hearthstone. Maybe with Global Games 2017 will be the year that UK players take over Hearthstone. And maybe we'll see some of the same representatives, at least one, because as we know, you are at least still a pro player.
Definitely, yeah. No one forget it. I am a caster first, but do dabble in playing sometimes. But we are going to, less about us and more about these guys. These are the stars of the show. It's going to be Cydonia versus Handsomeguy, and really, for me at least, sort of two very different players. Handsomeguy, very, storied history and his sheer ability to continually win championships, and Cydonia, a bit of the underdog, lesser known, but since he did win the championship, been continuing to practice, work hard, do a lot of streaming as well.
Yeah, straight into the game as well. Looks like we're going to see a Hunter mirror here from these two players. Right off the bat, these are slightly different lists coming up, but as you see, Cydonia is playing the Tundra Rhino in his list, which is an interesting tech choice. A little bit of extra value that he can get out of some of his Death Rattle minions by charging them out with the Tundra Rhino. Very explosive card when it hits, but a potentially dead card when it misses. So high-risk tech inclusion from him, but Handsomeguy generally going with the more solid stuff. Just using a Stranglethorn Tiger, which is never mind-blowingly good, but it's just always a solid minion that you can play in that 5-drop slot.
Yeah, with the stealth almost always gets at least some form of work done. Right. It says a 5/5 stealth, very difficult to remove before it can attack, so really good body on it there. But Cydonia got a pretty good opening hand, does have the Secret Keeper for turn 1, and as soon as that's played, it's literally just a threat, right? You cannot leave that minion alive in case the follow-up is secrets or, into a Huntress, into like 3 secrets, for example, that's, happens, on those good days on ladder.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, because you do see the Secret Keeper that we've talked about. Both these players are playing the secret-heavy list that's come out recently, but the more mid-range version, not the all-out face variant that we'll see some players playing a bit later on, but just a couple of tech choices different. Both players choosing to omit Call of the Wild from their list, but the Tundra Rhino, the 5-drop slot is the big difference between the two, but Cydonia definitely off to the more aggressive start here with the Secret Keeper.
Yeah, and also for Handsomeguy, it's kind of frustrating because this freezing trap, in a roundabout way, would have lined up okay versus the Secret Keeper because it would have buffed it, but then bounced it back, so it's fine. But he can't do that now that the grandmother's down, so he has had to actually just quick shot as well and just try and slow this game down as much as possible, because as we look at the hands, again, Cydonia, as you said, more aggressive. But Handsomeguy, much more mid-range, especially now that he's going that Tiger. He's got the middle to back end of the game sorted.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely behind the play, and it's rough because this is almost a mirror match, right? So some games you'll be happy to slow down the pace, take care of their early game stuff. You can be dominant in the late game, but you're just facing a mirror. Your opponent is just as likely to have those big power cards later on as you are, and the Huffer roll from Cydonia has ramped up the pressure so much, and unless he just wants to straight up kill command that, there is a good chance that Huffer connects twice. And you've played a lot of Hunter, you must have played a lot of Hunter mirrors. In my experience, if Huffer connects twice in the Hunter mirror, you are winning that game.
You are feeling pretty good. Huffer has no time for the slow game. Yeah. He's all about the smart life, and I appreciate that to no end. I think there might actually be an option here for Handsomeguy to just coin out Barnes, and to be honest, just hope for potentially, high main, some high impact, because the Huffer, if you just kill command Huffer, then, well, he's just more than likely going to develop another minion, and you're kind of in the same place you are next turn.
Right. I mean, I kind of like the kill command a little bit. I mean, I think if you coin out Barnes, even if you get a high main,
does Cydonia care? He just jams 5 more damage to face. Is the high main just too slow at that point, is my question.
Yeah, I think the ability for Barnes to then potentially trade with the Huffer, then you can finally get this freezing trap to work, because at the moment that Grandmother is just causing issues with the freezing trap. It's just unplayable because he'll just bounce the 1-1 and be like, sure, but Handsomeguy agrees with you. 1-0 to you, Sol. He is going to go for the kill command. We are going to keep track throughout all of opening week.
Oh, God.
And I'm probably going to lose.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like my chances. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, Cydonia's hand finally run a little bit dry. Did have the early pressure. But yeah, I do like this kill command play because I don't think he can afford to take Huffer to the face twice. It's not, when that happens for the Hunter that hits it, it's such a high percentage win rate that honestly, like board state, nothing else really matters at that point. You're so far ahead in the pressure game that you can just afford to press hero power every turn at that point, and your opponent's just obligated to trade into every single minion that you play, so.
Yeah, well that's it, isn't it? With the Hunter Mirror, because you can both do 2 damage a turn if you want, then if you get ahead early and then you just pile the pressure on while they're trying to, you know, sort of push it back, it's just not going to be enough and you'll run out of juice. But Cydonia has gone for the tracking, not too much of a surprise, as he just didn't really have too many options this turn. Just playing secrets might not have the impact he wants. Does pick the second kill command, and
but I was going to say, imagine how much better a tracking that would have been if the Huffer got to connect again, though, right? Like double kill command in hand now, that would just be game over. And I love this from Cydonia, just developing the snipe here. There's a good chance that Barnes comes down, empty board Houndmaster, because he's seen Handsomeguy has a clunky, slow hand. So Houndmaster is definitely a card that he can put him on. So Handsomeguy picking up the Secret Keeper here is actually a huge draw for him to coin a cast that you'll see a little bit later on. But now following up with the Cloaked Huntress, and Handsomeguy is now getting a grip on this game just in time, I would say.
Yeah, even 1 turn of pressure later, he has 10 damage in hand, Cydonia. It's so much damage if the beast sticks. So I really like the freezing trap here, and now we can start to build into the Stranglethorn Tiger, Barnes potentially if he needs it, and also with the Huntress down, any secrets he draws are just free, so he can just do it anyway.
Yeah, so it's a very good point. I mean, Cydonia recognizes that he's not quite there yet in terms of pure damage. He could have started getting really aggressive there and just, you know, gone for Freezing Trap Kill Command, for example, to start pushing damage, but knows that he's not quite there. He needs to get another minion to connect at some point, so chooses to go for the most powerful board play. And here you see the strength of that Stranglethorn Tiger. It's going to be such a great investment for him here. If High Main was to come down, for example, he'd have such a good ability to just trade into it immediately, take care of the first half of the body, start cleaning up the board from there.
Yeah, really good position for Handsomeguy now, as the sort of tables feel like they've turned a little bit, where Cydonia does have double kill command, and you can never forget that. You know, that, excuse me, that simply is a lot of damage, but look at the minions he has. Grandmother at 4 mana, not great. Secret Keeper as well is going to help versus this snipe, and now he knows what the secret is, so he can clear it off. Both players sacrificing Secret Keepers to snipe this game, so, you know, there's no real love there. And here we go, Cydonia. Battle plan kind of flipped on its head now. The Handsomeguy seems to build a board.
Still Cydonia choosing to address the board here. So let's have a quick count. So he's at 20. If he'd have sent the kill command face, then he would have been at 15 this turn. He has another 7 with a kill command and a hero power, which takes him down to 8. Which means if he doesn't draw damage, he needs 4 turns of hero powers on top of that, which, sure, probably a bit ambitious. So I agree with the line to commit to the board here. But committing to the board feels like a losing battle as well, based on the amount of value that we see in the opponent's hand.
Yeah, and I would really like to see Handsomeguy just pass now. There's no need to attack when you've got this much power. And if it's Freezing Trap, he has Houndmaster to proc it if he really wants. Or, more than likely, Cat Trick will go off. There's a lot of spells that Hunter plays, so you have 2 minions. More than likely, at least 1 survives to proc the Freezing Trap.
Yep, that's a very good point. And if it is Freezing Trap, that's kind of just best case scenario for Handsomeguy, honestly, because he's just left this Tiger stealth, so it can't be dealt with. So unless the Houndmaster gets taken care of, you know, he forces the trade on the board, basically. And if the 4/3 doesn't die, he can just bounce it, buff it back up to Stranglethorn Tiger, 9 damage straight to the face. So Freezing Trap is such a good position for him. But now suddenly Cydonia, after that aggressive start, he was just missing 1 big pickup in the mid-game. He just, you know, if he'd have had a Stranglethorn Tiger just to put some damage, if he'd have drawn a High Main, something along those lines, this would be a very different story, because suddenly those kill commands could just be pointed where they want to be pointed, which is directly at your opponent's face. This game would have a very different texture, but Handsomeguy is just right on the point of recovery now. The bow changes the clock significantly, though. That extra bow damage is going to be huge.
Ooh. That's sorry, the Ragnaros draw looks great because of the coin.
Yes.
You go straight into it, but there are those pesky 1/1s to deal with, and if it was me, the Rag is always hitting the 1/1. There's not too much of an argument to not play Rag, just to get it on the board, but frustrating that you can't almost guarantee the catch-up on damage that Handsomeguy kind of needs to do at this point.
There's also the world that Handsomeguy has to consider, which is Cat Trick, which I don't think he's considered that yet. He hasn't, hasn't tested for it at this point. So if he was to coin Ragnaros, he gives his opponent potentially 4 more power on the board, especially if Rag then snipes a 1/1, which means suddenly his 7/7 taunt is vulnerable, the bow can get through, suddenly the clock on his life total is very close again. So all things considered, even though this is a slow play from Handsomeguy compared to what he could have done, based on the information that he doesn't know, it's probably the right play.
Yeah, he still can't really attack with that Stranglethorn Tiger. So
Minions with stealth cannot taunt, Raven, as we have all been told at some point by the glorious Innkeeper himself.
Many times. But yeah, it's kind of awkward because you would really like that taunt to be live right about now.
Yeah. That Stranglethorn Tiger is potentially his key to victory, but he needs to activate the taunt. And to activate the taunt, he needs to attack. And to attack, he has to play into Freezing Trap, which he, by his information, is still the secret that's in play. So it's just catch-22 at this point. He really needs that huge taunt, but he has no way to activate it right now. And Cydonia just has the ability to push through damage. 2nd kill command in hand already. He might just get there.
Yeah, he's extremely close, and the benefit for Handsomeguy here is Barnes did kick out a Grandmother, which means that's a very sticky minion that more than likely you're going to be able to use to bounce the freezing next turn.
Right.
So then the Tiger is live, but as you said, is that just a turn too late? We're getting to the point where just hero power is going to end the game very shortly.
Yeah, I calculated the hero power clock a little while ago. It's a key strategy more for Face Hunter than Midrange Hunter, but it's definitely a thing that you have to consider when playing the midrange deck still, is how much damage do I have in my hand? Subtract that from my opponent's life total. How many times do I have to press the hero power to win this game? If that number comes out to you as a realistic clock, then just start going face with everything you have. And Cydonia has decided that is the plan. Handsomeguy gets the news that he did play around Freezing Trap correctly, and now he has to put a very fast clock on his opponent. He can do it. He has Rag, and he has a huge taunt in play, which can give him the turns that he needs. But he has to find a way to get this game done in 2 turns.
He has to find a way to make Ragnaros smog, because the frustration for him now is that the minions on the board kind of cause an issue of if Rag hits a 1/1, then you're in huge trouble. And I don't think there's actually a better way around this turn, unless he sets up for Rag next turn and plays the minions now with the Wolf and the Grandmother.
Well, here's my question. I don't think it's necessarily a Rag turn. If you kind of commit that your 7/7 will wall out this board, you can play Infested Wolf hero power, and that just directly sets up lethal without needing anything else. You then have the damage on board plus the hero power again to connect face, which says to your opponent, if you don't have an answer, then I just win the game next turn. I think that's the line we're going to see here. The hero power seems a lot better to me than the Grandmother. I think Handsomeguy just continues to impress me every time I see him play. I think this is definitely the way to find the clock.
Yeah, he knows the exact way he needs to, what he needs to do to win this game, but it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. Cydonia with that kill command, and then the quick shot off the top is going to end the game.
Buddy. Hold this quick shot real quick. Game 1 is going to Cydonia. Cat in the Hat, no impact on that game, but still stellar play from Handsomeguy. He definitely found the way to make his clock happen. I think that push he made at the end was executed perfectly. Just wasn't in the stars for him. The quick shot came flying out for Cydonia and ended the game.
Yeah, really strong start for Cydonia, as we mentioned earlier. Well, feels like the underdog in this specific matchup, at least most definitely. But we will see if he can continue this run and maybe take down Handsomeguy to be one of the few players that have managed it straight after this.
How does it feel to be back?
Great.
Are you nervous?
No, I'm not super nervous. Basically, I think my opponents are more nervous than me, so it makes me more chill.
Why do you think they're more nervous than you? Why do you think that you'll be more calm than everybody else?
I think they have more pressure. For example, guys like Handsomeguy and Ties, like everyone is saying they are going to win, and everyone is saying they are the best players in the world, so they have to prove it. Last time I was the underdog, this time Well, I'm pretty much the underdog again, and I think it's a role that suits me pretty well. I'm fine with them having all the pressure, and I just have to show that I can play against them, just show up, play well.
What kind of things can you do to, say, intimidate an opponent who's sitting across from you? Do you, like, wink at them?
No, I don't wink at people. I will stare them down.
We have returned to continue this series of Cydonia versus Handsomeguy, the first series of the World Championship opening week, and Cydonia is 1-0 up, and now we can see the bans, Shaman, not on the table for these guys, not too much of a surprise, but what do you make of the deck choices between these two guys and in the group overall?
Yeah, this group's super interesting because basically all the people that elected to bring Rogue to the tournament kind of just got piled into one group, and then Cydonia just got sprinkled in there on top of that, just like, hey, I've got the Rogue group, sweet, we're in there, boys, I'm going to BlizzCon. But he's brought a lineup that's actually pretty solid against Rogue overall, and Rogue is definitely a high-risk class. It's a deck that can lose to itself. It's also a deck that just really just cowers in a corner when it's encountering specific aggressive strategies, so it's an easily targetable deck. So it's definitely a high-risk thing to bring to Conquest, and it's just kind of interesting the way it's worked out. They've just all ended up in the same group with Cydonia there as the big bully, not letting anyone play Rogue. So a lot of people's statistical analysis on the groups have come out with Cydonia being favored for that very reason.
Yeah, really interesting to see how the group plays out, but this is the first match of that group. Cydonia on the Druid for game 2 and Handsomeguy on the Control Warrior. So this is a matchup that kind of goes back and forth on who should win and how to play the matchup specifically. I know the Warrior was kind of looking for a lot of answers if Tank Up isn't available early on to try and just out-health the potential Druid burst.
Yeah, it's a matchup that really kind of evolves as it plays. You'll talk to different people and they will tell you different kind of infallible strategies as how you win this as either side, and that's just not really the case because it swings back and forth. You can play for the Malagos burst combo as the Druid, but if they get Justicar early and start getting up a lot of health, then you have to adjust your strategy. Start play for pressure, maybe Raven Idol into minions, try and pick up a big pressure thing. So it really does ebb and flow as the matchup takes place, and both decks really have to kind of react to the other to find their win condition.
Yeah, and we see some wild turns from Handsomeguy. The first couple there, just having a couple of hammers up, starts building up that additional health pool to try and negate the Malagos, which has just come into Cydonia's hand. So Cydonia's hand is starting to shape up actually really well. Has the Maya Keeper this turn. He will kind of over-ramp into the Nourish, but I'm pretty sure we are going to see a Nourish into card draw, because I feel like as the Druid, you really want to just draw as much of your deck to have as much power available as early as possible.
This turn will actually be a big break point where we will see how Cydonia wants to address this matchup, because there's a lot of viable turns this turn, and there are a lot of turns that I think different very good players would do differently here. Nourish for cards, definitely viable. That leans towards the strategy of just draw your whole deck as quickly as possible, gather your burn, Emperor your hand, slam it all to the face. He can also just go for the board development play with the Azure Drake, which then leads down the line of perhaps Raven Idling for minions and trying to win through board pressure and Arcane Giants and Ragnaros, which is in the list as well. So Cydonia definitely has a decision point which could shape the flow of this entire matchup right now. And it looks like he is going to go for the Nourish, but is it going to be cards? Because there's a mana crystal concern here, which is jamming an 8/8 very quickly. But yeah, no surprise. I think cards definitely superior in that situation.
Yeah, this feels like the play you would do day in, day out on ladder. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing, of course, but this feels like the more standard play.
I think the most common play you'd see on ladder there is just play Drake, honestly.
Really?
I think just because generally the players here are of a higher standard than the average player on ladder. I think Nourish is probably a better play there, but I think commonly most people try and play this matchup and just curve out a little bit and beat up the Warrior. But Cydonia looks like he's leaning towards the combo kill a little bit more heavily here.
And his hand is starting to stack up as Handsomeguy drops the Bloodhoof Brave, and the Elise, really, the key to the Elise in the deck in a lot of matchups is actually just putting the Monkey in there. But you know what? At 3/5, can actually just get some work done on its own.
That is actually not a terrible Emperor hand already. Just looking like he has the Roots, he has the Malagos in his hand already. And he still has 2 Innovates left in his deck to be able to pair with things like Swipe. Has the coin as well. So, you know, the combo of discounted Malagos, discounted Living Roots, second Living Roots, Moonfire, Innovate, Swipe is possible if he just Emperors this hand right now. So, it's actually not a terrible Emperor. The problem is that he's kind of already losing the board to a Control Warrior, which is not a situation you really want to be in. So we might see this be a reactionary turn. This is something you can do against Control Warrior. You can take one entire turn out to just react to a board they've built up, because you can bet pretty safe money on the fact they're not just going to be able to rebuild the board the next turn.
Yeah, not really the deck that can reflood the board straight after it clears. They don't have too many minions themselves that are capable of that. But it does have the follow-up of Sylvanas and Gorehowl as well, so there's a lot of pressure coming out from Handsomeguy going forward, but Cydonia did go for the huge reduction. And also, as you were alluding to, the reduction on all of the burst cards, but also just the pure reduction on that many cards is just fantastic value, full stop. And Handsomeguy has to respect this Emperor and deal with it one way or another.
There we go. Everyone's favorite Hearthstone card has been drawn. Justicar, Trueheart. Get your Navi tank up, Navi click ready in the chat, because it's about to go off.
Yep, although Handsomeguy has not actually stacked up too much armor previous to this. As we said, he's been focusing on the board, so this is kind of frustrating for Cydonia, no doubt, because it's like turn 6 Justicar off the draw as well, so it's like, oh no, like I was doing so well.
The damage is just piling up already. That is Roots, Moonfire already with the Malagos. He could do it this turn if he wanted to. He's progressed through this game so quickly that this is probably just going to be a straight-up race from this point. Both players are just pushing towards their eventual win condition way faster than you do on average in this matchup. Cydonia's already there with a big burst combo, but Handsomeguy already there with the turn 6 Justicar, so this one could come right down to the wire.
Yeah, and even, you know, the second Nourish available to continue to refill our hand, maybe get to that second Giant. Double Feral Rage available now for either more damage or, well, it'll just be more damage, I imagine. There's not many, too many situations in which you want to get
Feral Rages, 8 to face, get him!
9 with hero power.
So he chooses to point out the Wrath here, cycles it for 3 on the Justicar, now picks up Rag. This is honestly a great looking hand and a great draw from Cydonia so far. He has minion pressure with the 2 Drakes on the board. He has more minion pressure to back that up with the Ragnaros and the Arcane Giant. And I think this is a reaction specifically to that Ragnaros draw now, where he's saying, you know, I don't need to play the pure burn game anymore. This is exactly what I was talking about at the start, just reacting to the state of the game and evolving your game plan as you go along. He says, I just drew Rag. I don't need to Moonfire Roots root you in the face anymore. I just need to grab the board. Rag, Arcane Giant, Mali, all these things will do the work for me.
Yeah, and Handsomeguy having to use Gorehowl to clear one of the Drakes, but the way Cydonia positioned himself the previous turn, he had 2. So, you know, the second one's going to get at least 4 damage in, and, you know, the second you can negate at least 1 hero power from the Warrior, as well as develop a board or do more damage, you really start to pull ahead. And look, more damage! Swipe, why not? Add it to the collection.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious play here is for sure just play Rag. I think Cydonia is just taking a moment to role-play Face Hunter for a second and just like, if I like swipe Feral Rage the face and then Hero Power this turn, like, do I get there with the amount of damage that I have? But I think all things considered, Rag does 8 damage to face anyway, so, you know, why not?
And also as well, Rag does the damage and requires an answer, which is going to use up mana and, you know, resources on Handsomeguy's turn. He just cannot leave Rag up. Although he could steal Rag if he really... Oh, no, he couldn't quite. It's just off. It's just off.
Well, he can face tank the,
and then
face tank the Drake, but I mean, I think that's probably the play, right? Like,
I think he has to.
Well, no, he can't. He can't do it, right? How does he get the armor with Sylvanas? He doesn't have enough mana to do it, right?
I was meaning just play Sylvanas and cross the old fingers.
Right, okay. I think that's too risky at this point. I think you probably just have to react directly. I thought you spotted some magical play where Sylvanas steals immediately, but
the play where you just have more mana than you should.
Yes. always a Hearthstone player's dream.
Cydonia, he's looking like he's got a bit of a dream hand at the
That's
moment.
lethal, right? I think that, no, too much? No, it's not quite there.
Because he used a Moonfire, right?
Yeah.
Earlier.
Although, is it? No, wait, 15 damage from the spells. Oh, no, it's because he's used the coin already. He can't fit it all in. When I spoke of the original combo, it had the coin involved as well, because he didn't discount the second route. So the fact that the coin's gone down, he can't quite get there yet. But the Innovate is a great draw nonetheless, because it allows him to pair that swipe with the Malagos eventually.
Yeah, which is going to be pretty crazy. I mean, at this point, he's going to go for Malagos now. I was wondering whether he was going to try and set up with the Fel Rages first.
Wait, is it just lethal? We dumb? We might be dumb.
We might quite possibly be dumb.
It's 15 from the spell. Yeah, it's easily lethal. Wait, what am I talking about? There's 14 damage coming in. No, because the root. Wow.
Yeah.
He still doesn't have the coin.
When you said that, I was looking, going, I still can't see this.
I still feel
I was feeling really bad.
I know. I still felt like the second roots was playable because I'd already talked about it earlier with like the coin coming out. But the idea behind this is that Handsomeguy has to gain a bunch of armor from this point, and then he still has Fel Rage roots, plus a Malagos on the board that needs to be dealt with. So unless Handsomeguy can get himself up to 12 armor and shield slam the Malagos, one Execute has gone down already. And then even if that threat is addressed, there's still Feral Rages and Living Roots coming through for damage. So even though we made a complete mess of it, Cydonia is on point. He knows what he's doing.
First series of the day. We can be forgiven, I hope.
I don't think... See, casters tend to blame the last series of the day for being too tight. I don't think we get to do both. That's not an option select that we can get away with.
We can do both.
I think sometimes you just got to hold your hands up and say, guys, I suck. I'm sorry. We'll do better.
Okay, we'll go with that play.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, with the slam, there's got to be something pretty special coming out from Handsomeguy to be able to deal with this.
I think he needs, if he gets exactly Execute into the tank up there, he'd have 13, he'd clear it.
Double shield slam.
Yeah, it's not looking great. Because with the shield slam, he has to face tank it, which now puts him down to 9. And the double Feral Rage this time, I'm pretty confident that the game is going to end, and Cydonia is running away with this series, and he had so much room for maneuver left in his hand at that point. He got there comfortably with Arcane Giants and damage left to spare.
Normally the Arcane Giants are the minions that really, force removal or get big damage in, and Cydonia's like, I'm alright, I'll just draw a million spells and just deal with him like that. And Cydonia 2-0 up versus Handsomeguy. Very, very impressive so far.
Yeah, it is. And this, you spoke earlier about the juxtaposition between these two players. This is the two extremes of really what HCT has allowed people to promote themselves as, where some of the old guard, long-standing players, they've allowed to re-establish themselves and say that, we can still do it in this open format, but at the same time, it's opened the door for unknown players like Cydonia to say, hey guys, I didn't get those fancy invites that you guys had in 2014 and 2015, but I'm down to play too. I've got to here off my own back through the open system, and I can compete with you guys. And with those two types of players clashing up against each other, it's Cydonia, the underdog, that's coming out on top at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to see if he can continue his run to potentially bring down the Titan that is Handsomeguy right after this.
Welcome back, Handsomeguy.
Hi.
4 times now.
Yeah.
Feel any different now that it's BlizzCon, that it's the World Championship?
들 줄 알았는데 지금 무대나 이게 스테이지가 똑같아가지고 비슷한 느낌이에요, 지금 아직까지는.
Blizzard made an article about our predictions, and I predicted you to win.
Oh, really?
I have something for you, okay? I've had this in my wallet for a while.
Wow.
I'm your biggest Handsome fan. Handsome fan.
Asia Pacific Summer Champion, it's Handsomeguy.
You are probably the most successful player in 2016. A lot of people are expecting you to do well. Do you feel even more pressure now than you did, say, at the last championship?
연달아 우승을 해서 점점점 부담이 커지고 있기는 해요. 이제 뭐 이전에도 그랬듯이 앞으로도 앞에 남은 게임들도 잘 할 것 같아요.
I want you to sign this for me.
오케이.
I never got the opportunity to get anything signed. I'm going to try and work on that this week.
I just want to be, that guy that TJ carries a picture of around in his wallet. I just want someone to look at me the way that TJ looks at Handsomeguy.
They are definitely the goals, but the goals for Cydonia to continue to just finish up this series. He's been looking pretty strong so far. First game with the Hunter looking great, and then just a truly impressive performance with that Druid. Just really knowing exactly how to play the matchup, as you said, based on what was happening during the game.
I mean, it looked really straightforward because, like, let's be real for a second. Cydonia drew the absolute stone cold nuts that game, but there were still mistakes you could have made that would have lost you that game. It was possible, and I think Cydonia played through his hand very, very nicely. He was immensely favored with the way the draws lined up, but you still have to play the hand, and he did it to great effect, and he's in a comfortable position because of it, and now has the Tempo Mage coming up against this secret-based Hunter, and I think the addition of the one card that Handsomeguy has kept in his hand here has had a lot to say about the evolution of this matchup recently, Raven.
Yeah, I mean, I play a lot of similar lists to this Hunter, and sometimes like the Tempo Mage is just very scary because early on, we can see the cat trick, and the likelihood that gets procced early is extremely high with the sheer volume of low-cost spells that Tempo Mage runs, but Tempo Mage, as we can see, also has cards like Arcane Missiles, Flamewaker shots that don't care about stealth. They do not respect stealth at all. And if they just kill off the cat, as well as potentially, clear up the sort of smaller minions on the board at the start for Hunter, like, Hunter kind of struggles to get back on board, and Tempo Mage can often run away with the game.
Yeah, this is a thing that people have had to pick up very quickly is, ways that their deck have to navigate around cat trick. So, you'll see Control Warrior doing things like, holding onto the coin so they can coin brawl at some point and also clear out a cat trick. Similar situation for Tempo Mage. They kind of want a couple of cheap spells and a Flamewaker. So they can Flamewaker and then 2 cheap spells. The first one procs the cat trick, and then the 2 spells combined usually take care of it. So it's a tough route to navigate through, especially when the Hunter is just being so aggressive towards you often with, through other avenues as well. But Cydonia with that double missiles in hand now could end up interacting pretty well with the cat trick at some point. But oh, secrets plus bow, my favorite kind of Hunter hand, Raven.
Yeah, and definitely not your favorite when they equip bow and just hit face. Although with the second one,
it triggers me so
I know
much.
it does. I love seeing you triggered, Saul.
I know you do.
But the second bow might actually allow for a bit more of an aggressive line where, that's a bit more of a reasonable take on it.
Yeah, it's very possible. The second bow does actually change that equation, but the fact he'll probably want to curve bow into Barnes most of the time means that we might even see him hold the bow here. Although there's so much weapon destruction in this tournament, I'm going to check Cydonia's Tempo Mage list for weapon destruction. There isn't any.
We've not gone that far yet.
I mean, we could get there, right? But yeah, Snipe comes down, takes care of the minion. So now we will probably see this decision from Handsomeguy. Is this first charge of bow going to go face? But now we have double 4-drops. So now we're going to be saved our million-dollar question of whether he hits face with bow, and we're going to go coin 4 into 4 instead, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is just a big play, especially because Barnes can actually just simply blow out a game a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That cat's high main, Ragnaros. Yes, the Rag can easily be dealt with, but not after it does 8 damage to face if it came out this turn. So really causes issues. And also, if that happens, Cydonia needs to ping, which is, effectively makes his 4-mana turn a 2-mana turn. So it's going to go for the Wolf first. Interesting.
Yeah, the Wolf does surprise me a little bit.
Yeah.
I think empty board Barnes is the win-win Barnes, right? If you just get a 1-1, then sure, you got a decent board presence. But like you said, if you do pull a Grandmother or a High Main or something nutty, it's just so potentially game-winning because you've got it down with initiative. So it does surprise me. I would have liked the Barnes, but Handsomeguy obviously has his reasons for Infested Wolf. You always feel like you just have to pull back a little bit when you're criticizing a player as well established and as
he knows something we don't.
Yeah, as distinguished and storied as Handsomeguy is, you're like, he probably has his reasons.
Yeah, and we see, something we've not really discussed, not really had chance to yet, but a lot of Tempo Mage in this tournament. All slight variations, and Cydonia specifically is, quite minion heavy with, it has the Ragnaros, it has the double water elementals, Faceless Summoner, so, leaning more towards the minions that are just like high value minions more than anything, and Water Elemental's going to get some work done, and now double bow, double cat trick. If only you could have 2 portraits and equip them both with 2 cat tricks separate, but you cannot, and we are going to see
dual wielding coming to a Hearthstone expansion near you.
Not confirmed.
Hey, look, when has anyone ever taken anything I say seriously? Honestly, let's be real here.
That's
Come
true.
on. Yeah.
That's true. I know I don't.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one of the worst cards you can get off Barnes, which is just a Houndmaster.
Yes.
Which is feels pretty horrible, as there are so many. Almost every other minion in the deck is better than Houndmaster.
It's a weird dilemma with Houndmaster and Barnes when you're building the deck, because the fact that you have Barnes makes Houndmaster better because you pull beasts out of your deck, small 1/1 beasts, and you can then Houndmaster them into huge threats. But having Houndmaster in your deck makes Barnes worse. So you're like, well, what do you want from me, deck?
Missiles! That was pretty insane.
Yeah, that was huge. Wow, could that have gone any better? And now I think Handsomeguy is going to have to take the miserable decision of just slamming an Eaglehorn bow into a water elemental. Never feels great, just giving up the freeze yourself, because now misses his next attack on the following turn, meaning some of the tempo advantage that comes from, you know, generating any weapon, really. I mean, that's the huge advantage, is that you get to essentially attack for free the next turn. Now doesn't have that advantage available to him.
Yeah, and also Cydonia knows that Handsomeguy only runs one snipe, and it's already been used, so this is your Drake, it's free. You can just play it.
He drew the Mana Worm anyway, just asserted dominance by playing the Drake
yeah,
first.
He knows.
So I know your list, hold this Drake.
Yeah, because a lot of the time, Azure Drake is one of the best snipes. Like 5 mana, draw a card, great, you know, fantastic. Really good for Handsomeguy, but not the case as it is Cat Trick, as we know. Misha's going to come down out of the Animal Companion, and again, a slight frustration with this Huntress. Like, he's going to play it, but not get any instant value from the free secrets it provides, because Cat Trick is already live.
Yep, so now just frozen up, second bow in hand, can't even clear the first charge to generate the additional mana, so this is really slipping away from Handsomeguy so quickly here. He could just be eventually getting run over at this point, and we're still yet to see that rogue come out, which we've talked about as a potential sticking point, so Handsomeguy just in so much trouble here.
Yeah, the only, you know, light at the end of the tunnel potentially, as we can see, is that Cydonia's hand, you know, can get some work done with blast and missiles and fend off with the mirror image, but other than that, not really a high impact hand. You know, he really does need to draw into another water elemental, a Faceless, Ragnaros, even a Flame Waker would be really good, but just something. And what does he get? It's okay. He can actually play the Sorcerer, kill off the Misha, proc the Cat Trick,
and then has
huge 4 missiles. Yeah.
This is a really big deal, and honestly, I feel like if some of the damage starts going face at this point, does he mind that much? Because he still has the mirror image to wall out the potential Cat Trick coming in anyway.
Yeah, this is just like a win-win, right? If he, you know, if he kills the Cat, fantastic. Already dead with 5 missiles, pretty likely. And look at this damage he's pushing, and Handsomeguy has no way to stop it at all.
This is going to be a dramatic downhill spiral for Handsomeguy at this point. Doesn't play Explosive Trap in his list, if I'm seeing it correctly. Slightly hard to pass the traps with the Korean characters, but fairly sure there's no Explosive Trap in here. Just develops that second Cat Trick. Quick shot to take care of some of the damage, and now Cydonia, the Cat Trick is not going to have an effect on his turn, but you know, it's a secret, right? He has to navigate through all the potential different options it could be, like Freezing Trap, and work out how to play his turn here.
Yeah, and the mirror images as well. Just how frustrating is Handsomeguy with this bow? First frozen, now mirror images. Absolutely horrible for him. And Azure Drake, a fantastic draw for Cydonia, allows him to cycle. You know what? Why not just drop the Flame Wake?
Yeah, so
at this point, like, what is the Hunter going to do to this kind of board? He knows there's no Call of the Wild. Not that it could even be played next turn anyway, with the nerf up to 9 mana. So this, to me, just is the ping really better than just dropping Flame Waker this turn?
The ping doesn't change the clock, so if you ping, then you can take him down an extra point this turn, which means you'd need 1 less the next turn. But even if Handsomeguy kills 1 minion, you still have the same clock on the next turn, whether you ping this turn or not, so it doesn't really change anything. So yeah, just minion presence on the board, play the Flame Waker, ask even more questions.
It's gonna be it.
Handsomeguy, the player who's been so dominant in his own scene, you know, just incredible story, incredible consistency in the level of the run he's been able to put together in the Korean scene, is finding it a little bit more difficult now that he's getting exposed to some of the American and European players, and very specifically at this point, Cydonia,
exposed to Cydonia.
a huge roadblock for him.
Yeah, looking really good for Cydonia, and, you know, really starting to just, you know, make his mark here. You know, yeah, he won a championship, but he's proving that that wasn't a fluke. You know, he's really put the work in. And we're going to be right back after this with the next game.
The Hearthstone World.
Now that you've qualified, have you gotten more of your family on board the Hearthstone hype train?
Yeah, it was really funny. My mom watched the whole tournament, and like my dad watched it also, and he even got like other people from my family to come with him watch, and they all don't understand anything. But when you get hyped, TJ, they get hyped too, so it's working.
That's going to be it.
Cydonia is going to close this out, and he is going to be moving on to the grand finals.
You said like your sister was showing
the
text messages of her boyfriend or something?
Yeah, because she couldn't watch it, and yeah, her boyfriend was watching it and texting her constantly, like everything, something would happen. So he would text her like 50 times during a match. It reads like, oh, he might be winning. Oh, no, it's bad. Oh, yeah, it's good. Oh, he's winning. Something's happening. I don't know what. Oh, it's 1-0. Oh, 1-1. And then she answers him, I'm so stressed out. It's really fun for me that like my families and friends and all that, they're getting really hyped about this. It's more fun than just they're like, oh, stop going on vacation without us. No, but they're really supportive.
Have you tried to teach them how to play?
My girlfriend tried to play Akron 25, and she said what every player who plays and loses a game said. I don't see anything I could have done differently. So
she's perfect.
She's perfect, yeah.
She'll be a legend player in no time.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Cydonia versus Handsomeguy, the first series of the day, and Cydonia is stomping this series so far. 3-0 versus Handsomeguy. Well, you know, what a performance even now, never mind how the series ends.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge advantage, obviously, to be up 3-0. Just the one deck remaining, the Cthulhu Warrior, which now Handsomeguy has to overcome 4 times, and you know, even sometimes you see a game in Conquest where, you know, a player goes up 3-0, but they have the deck remaining that their opponent is targeting, right? And it's still, if you go up 3-0, even if you have unfavored matchups in all 4 of the remaining games, you're still favored to win. Yeah, you're still favored statistically to win one of those 4 unfavored shots. So Cydonia in a very, very comfortable spot. And we were talking a little bit in the break about some of the matchups, and sure, you know, Handsomeguy has some favorable matchups, one of which being this Hunter, you know, but this Hunter has no Call of the Wild in it, for example. It tops out a High Main and Rag, and Cydonia's choice to bring Cthulhu Warrior specifically actually tilts a few of the matchups a few percentage points back towards him. He's still unfavored in a lot of them, but the Cthulhu Warrior can just fight a little bit better than a regular Control Warrior can.
Yeah, exactly. With the Cthulhu Warrior, the more volume of minions early game and late game, even versus Hunter, is going to help battle with the board instead of saying, like as a normal Control Warrior deck, saying, okay, I need Axe, you know, I need Ghoul to then remove it. He's actually got a lot more options, and you know, we do see the opening hand here. He does have Fire War Axe into Acolyte, has an emergency execute if required, but not looking too bad for Cydonia so far.
Yeah, and I like the decision not to overreact here. I mean, the deck, Hunter doesn't really play 2-drops. They play Secrets on 2 in this particular build. So the reason to coin out the Axe against Zoo, for example, is so that you can kill their 1-drop, and then when they play their next minion, you already have the Axe equipped, you can kill 2 things. If you wait, then they'll have 2 minions on the board. You can only axe 1, and then you're always a minion behind the play. But Cydonia correctly identifies that that is not going to be the case against the Hunter. Also, importantly, lets him retain that coin in the hand for a play I talked about earlier, which is proccing the cat trick with the coin and then throwing out a brawl to get the full clear.
Yep, Liot coming out from Handsomeguy, and, you know, probably wanted something a little bit bulkier, you know, Misha or even Huffer just to go aggressive, even though the Huffer would have been cleared up by the Axe more than likely, would have still done a lot of damage. And I think Handsomeguy is going to have to, you know, make this one quick if he really wants to win, because late game we can see the Twin Emperors in hand, and Hunter kind of just struggles to get through that kind of health, you know, in form of taunt, unless you're already way ahead on board, in which, hey, you probably won anyway. It actually kind of struggles to have an answer to 2 6-health taunt minions.
Yeah, and it's a big deal for Cydonia as well, just to have the Emperor in hand already, because honestly, playing that thing on 6 a lot of the time, or even, you know, coining it out if he has availability to do it, it can often put a roadblock on the Hunter's plans. If they haven't been able to get through enough pressure early on, then you can say to them, well, now you have to slow down again and deal with my Emperor, otherwise I'm just going to generate way too much value. And This is a pretty strong-looking turn, too. Execute, Fiery War Axe cleans up the Houndmaster. It is going to proc the cat trick, but he doesn't really have much choice. This board kind of needs to be reacted to.
Yeah, and even like look at the respect for the Acolyte, for the card draw, for the Warrior. You have a 4-attack Leok that you really want to hit face, and it's like, I have to run it into the 1/3 because if he gets more cards, I just lose. And it's like, it's kind of crazy just skipping on that much damage.
It's an interesting decision as well because there's only one Revenge in Cydonia's list, so his ways to power out a bunch of card draw, no blood to Icar as well that he can ping his own Acolyte with. So
it's like Ghouls as well is like the only other option.
Yeah, exactly. So his ways to power out the card draw from his Acolyte are a little bit limited. That maybe playing around that kind of stuff is a bit too timid from Handsomeguy, but Cydonia did have the clean answer to the board that was in front of him, procced the Cat in the Hat in the processes we talked about, so there is going to be some board presence retained from Handsomeguy, but his hand is running out of gas very, very quickly here. These secrets are not really the best tools against Hunter. The second cat trick is fine, but Snipe and Freezing Trap not really going to do a whole lot of work most of the time.
Yeah, and it's why we see him prioritize the hero power. He needs to kill him.
So this is actually interesting because he could have played Snipe, right? He knows coin something is available to his opponent this turn. If he's kept track, he knows the coin is there. So if it's coin Justicar, the Snipe is great. It's probably the best minion in the deck that you can snipe. But regardless of what he coins, that's good for you if you play Cat Trick, right? So he's decided to go down the line where he just gets the good minion out of the coin regardless, and just went for the Cat Trick instead of the Snipe, because Cydonia could, of course, choose to play Emperor here, which wouldn't be a good snipe.
I think the key thing here as well is, as your Handsomeguy helped me out hovering over the card, he has Kill Command and almost a guaranteed cat. And also, if Justicar came out, you could just play Freezing Trap next turn and say, well, I'm just going to bounce you Justicar, that's pretty much a useless minion then. So I really like the multiple options, and hang on, hold the phone.
It's 17.
That is very close.
It's really, really close, yeah. Leok would have been the same damage as the hero power, so that would have been as short as well.
You just go face, right? Face hero power?
When I said quite often the Hunter has to slow down and respect the Emperor, the option to put your opponent to 1 isn't often on the table, but I expect we'll probably see the hero power this time instead.
So I was going to ask you about that. Is there ever a world in which you use Kill Command instead? Because this board could get cleared up next turn. And then if you don't have a beast, then suddenly the damage is like reduced a little bit, but you gain the 2 damage from the hero power, so it actually works out pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, so Handsomeguy might also decide that his best shot at lethal is just like a trap here, and that he doesn't need the damage, and I think this is totally fine too. Freezing Trap is legitimate, just to make this board much harder to clear. Although that Revenge, the one of Revenge that we talked about earlier, is now potentially game-winning. Because this board is clear, the beasts are gone, as we talked about, and Handsomeguy's decision to use the secret over his hero power means that he does now miss out on that 2 damage from not having a beast. And now if Cydonia can just dodge bullets for this 1 turn, then the Justicar train starts rolling.
Yeah, especially with the reduction from the Emperor, Justicar into hero power on turn 7. He's actually pretty dirty. It doesn't feel great on turn 8 most of the time, never mind turn 7.
And look at Handsomeguys face. Has he realized, is that the moment that puts him into the lower bracket in the first game in this group? Is that the moment that makes his BlizzCon dream that much harder for him? Because he knows now stabilization stations are very real for this Warrior now.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot left.
Needs some help.
Handsomeguy can draw. I mean, there's still Quick Shot available as well. That will do the job. High main.
I mean, sure.
It's going to help. It's definitely not worst case, but the frustration is that you play high main and can't hero power. So there's 2 turns, 4 damage. He's skipped by having to do, like, use other options, like the high main this turn, the secret the turn after, and now, Freezing Trap just doesn't feel too great, and...
This turn's revolting! This turn's actually disgusting. This turn just makes me a little bit ill inside.
Don't throw up.
Okay, I'll try not to. He has Justicar, Tank Up, Shield Slam, and Execute available to him this turn on 7 mana. He has to navigate through a Freezing Trap to be able to commit the clear to this high main, but that is a disgustingly powerful turn.
Yeah, and this is where it could potentially all go wrong with the lack of Call of the Wilds as the late game powerhouse in the deck that Hunter used to run. It's just going to be Ragnaros in these high mains, and the problem with the high main is that the pretty slow in general, right? You pretty much give up a turn to play it a lot of the time. And if it gets dealt with like this with no gain, it's going to quickly run away with Cydonia here and just be able to stack up too much armor. And what's Handsomeguy even going to draw to come back into this? That's the problem.
So he will retain a beast on the board, right? Because one of these minions gets frozen to make the trade. The other one trades off the hyena, and then he has no activator remaining for that execute that he has in hand. So he'll retain that 2 damage, and he'll retain the kill command activator. So he's actually looking at 9 damage right now, just in this situation.
So they're still outs.
Wait, what happened?
Did he not attack with
the Emperor?
Did we miss?
I'm confused.
He didn't attack because the minion's not cleared. He didn't use Emperor to trade, and Handsomeguy still on 30. I'm trying to do like deduction here to work out if we missed something.
Yeah. So, I mean, can he really have wanted the other deduction that much? I mean, does he just say that the 2/2 dying doesn't actually change his outs on terms of things that beat him? It's a really hard play to puzzle around. Like looking at this hand, do you really value that second activation that highly?
But he didn't even hit phase, right?
It's true.
Yeah, he could have, because there was no secret down. The secret was just played. He propped the freezing trap with the ghouls, so going to skip the damage there. So Cydonia maybe feeling the pressure as he knows this could be the game that actually puts him into the winner's bracket of the group and makes his chances to go to the World Championship Finals much more likely.
Very much so. So now the damage has been generated again by Handsomeguy on the board. Infested Wolf, another tricky minion to deal with, but Handsomeguy is playing this Infested Wolf with the full knowledge that there's a Ravaging Ghoul waiting in hand that can take care of it. So probably doesn't have too many delusions of grandeur in terms of this thing sticking around, but Cydonia is living on a knife edge right now. Basically, the only thing that's really gone wrong with his draw this game is he hasn't hit the Cthulhu minions. So, you know, this is a pretty weak Veclaw, and it's a pretty useless Ancient Shield Bearer that he has sat in his hand right now. And the Snipe eating away some of that health on the Veclaw could be relevant as well. Means if, say, another bow is picked up here, he can push some extra damage to face. That's not bad either, because now the kill command can take care of that, and he can push 5 with the Infested Wolf minion.
Yeah, really frustrating. He doesn't have a way to deal the 1 just to the Justicar as well, to, you know, just completely clear the board and start to battle, you know, go forward again to really push lethal. But yeah, this is Handsomeguy still in there. He's on 30 health, so he's not dead yet. But if Cydonia gets the Cthulhu activators, gets the Shield Bearer down, even though Handsomeguy may not die instantly, it's going to be a long, drawn-out death more, Nathan.
Certainly is, but still, even with that Justicar train rolling, Handsomeguy has just had just enough pressure for this game not to snowball out of control yet. Cydonia still living on a knife edge right now, and Handsomeguy just working out how to ration through this situation. I think the kill command on the Veclaw and pushing the minion damage is by far the superior play here. And this could be Handsomeguy last push. If Cydonia can find a nice answer to this situation, that might just be his last hurrah. And he has several fairly nice options to deal with this situation. Trade and Ravaging Ghoul into execute and tank up is the first thing that leaps out at me. But of course the Shield Slam is an option as well, having now drawn that.
Yeah, and he still has that Brawl as a fail-safe. Not that Handsomeguy being on 1 card a turn now is going to really build up a board very quickly with the lack of Call the Wild. So does have Brawl as an option, but Cydonia just wants to see those Cthulhu buffs so he can play the Shield Bearer and just gain the, you know, what will begin to be an insurmountable amount of health for Handsomeguy to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, any time that he doesn't have any pressure put on him, like this turn right here, he's still pulling himself out of range, right? It's just the power of tank up. It's so obnoxious in this kind of situation, just giving 4 health a turn to Cydonia. And the Beckoner of Evil, that's getting him there. He needs 1 more after this, but it's a good start to get him to that magical 10-10 that he's going to need to probably just lock out the game completely.
Yeah, and I kind of think it's just going to be a Shield Slam here. And, you know, do you really want to use Gore Health for 3 when you're this low? All you need to do is get more health and you will not lose, like, the game. As we can see, Handsomeguy hasn't even had a scratch on him at 30 health this game, but it doesn't matter because you can just push yourself out of any potential range going forward. So, you know, you might want to save the Shield Slam for a Rag later on, or you can use it now and almost guarantee survival for a turn or so.
He is going to use the Gore House. This is interesting. There's literally like
well, he can still equip it, right?
He can still equip it. Yeah, that's very true. But it'd be interesting to see if he does swing because, like you said,
I would be terrified.
There is still a Rag left in the deck, and you can have this mentality of, what do I lose to? I lose to Rag, right? That's the one draw he can have. But you can also choose to look at that backwards and say that he only has one draw to hit his Rag. If he doesn't hit the Rag in this very next draw, I'm probably just too far ahead for the Rag to win in the game anyway. So this is the mentality that I do like here from Cydonia. Kindly Grandmother is like a Rag in some ways, but just not quite.
Explain to me those ways.
It's literally about as far from Ragnaros as you can possibly get.
Oh, okay. There it is.
That's just the best draw in his deck.
Yes.
There is not a single card that was better than that on this turn. And now 10 health is going to be gained from Cydonia. That is probably the game from Handsomeguy. Will we see the concession? Are we going to see a 4-0 from one of the underdogs of the tournament up against one of the favorites?
Look at the burst.
Quick shot and kill
turn
command.
Too late. So close, but so far. Cydonia with an incredible first series, taking the match 4-0 versus Handsomeguy.
Yeah, so huge. I mean, I alluded to it, but if you wanted a banker in this opening round, absolutely no disrespect meant to Cydonia. This is just how much respect Handsomeguy has had coming into this. If there was a first round banker that people were putting money on, it was perhaps that, Handsomeguy on reputation was the favorite here. But Cydonia showing there are no weak players in this bracket. Incredibly dominant performance.
Yeah, really great first series to kick off the day. And Frodan is with Cydonia to get his thoughts on that series overall.
4-0 to start off opening weekend. That is quite the dominant performance. Did you expect it to go that one-sided?
I didn't really expect it, but Neyman asked me if I was going to win this morning. I said yes. He asked me what the score is going to be. I was like 4-0, of course. So I guess I got to say that more often.
Yeah, man, have confidence in yourself. I think a lot of people are, who are supporting you are really happy to put their vote in your camp. And how do you feel about the rest of your group now that you've gotten the first match out of the way?
Obviously, it's pretty big. I feel I should be able to get one more win against one of the other guys. I'm going to look at the lineups more and practice a lot in the upcoming date, yeah.
Yeah, so you got a day break at least. Congratulations, 4-0. Cydonia takes over Handsomeguy, who will be playing in the lower bracket, but not before we go to our next match of the day. Stay tuned, guys. Coming up next, we have BB Gun Gun up against Neyman.